I died choking on my own blood. The taste of betrayal as sharp as the knife in my gut. The last thing I saw was Derek's face, my partner of 5 years. The man I'd built empires with, twisted in that fake-ass sympathy as he whispered, "It's for the best.
Kinsley.
You were always too ambitious." And then, nothing. Black.
Gone.
Until I woke up gasping in my old apartment. The alarm blaring 6:45 a.m. on a Tuesday in 2023. My body young again. My scars fresh from the life I hadn't lived yet, realizing with a gut-punch horror that God, fate, or some cosmic joke had hit rewind, and this time, I wasn't playing nice. It was the same shitty commute into Manhattan, the F train rattling like my nerves, packed with zombies in suits scrolling their feeds. But everything felt sharper now. The air thicker with the ghosts of what was coming. I clutched my coffee like a lifeline, staring at my reflection in the grimy window. Kinsley Harper, 28, rising star at Apex Innovations, the tech darling everyone whispered about. Back then, I'd believed the hype. I'd poured my soul into that neural network algorithm. The one that could predict market crashes before they happened, worth billions if it went public. Derek and I had coded it side by side in his cramped Brooklyn loft, nights blurring into mornings with takeout and tangled sheets. He was the visionary, I was the grinder. Or so I thought. By the time I swiped into the lobby of Apex Tower that morning, my heart was a war drum. The betrayal replayed in loops, the boardroom ambush 6 months from now, where Derek would unveil his algorithm, crediting himself while they paraded me out like yesterday's trash. Fired in front of the entire exec team, my contributions erased, my equity stripped. Then the real knife, Derek's anonymous tip to the feds about my embezzlement, a frame job so tight it landed me in prison for fraud. I'd rotted there for 2 years. Appeals denied. Until some hack job in the yard ended it all. But the janitor, old Mr. Elias, with his mop and his knowing eyes, slipping me that brass key in the prison laundry room. For the girl who sees too much, he'd said, vanishing before the guards came. It unlocked a safety deposit box in Jersey, stuffed with ledgers proving Apex's founders had cooked the books for years, offshore slush funds, insider trades, the works. For $0.2 million in laundered cash. Enough to bury them all. But I never got to use it.
Now? Fuck that.
This time, I would. I hit my desk on the 42nd floor, the open plan office buzzing with that fake Silicon Alley energy, neon signs screaming disrupt or die, millennials chugging cold brew like it was rocket fuel. Sarah, my cubicle neighbor and supposed bestie, leaned over with her perfect bob and veneered smile. "Kins, you okay? You look like you saw a ghost." If only she knew. Sarah was Derek's plant from day one, feeding him my every move. The bitch who'd laughed over wine about taming the wild one. I forced a grin, the kind that didn't reach my eyes. Just the usual grind.
Girl.
What's the word on the quarterly? She launched into gossip about layoffs in accounting. But my mind was elsewhere, mapping the minefield. Apex wasn't just a company. It was a viper pit run by Harlan Voss, the CEO with a penthouse in Tribeca and a conscience smaller than his hair plugs. He'd mentored me once, back when I was fresh out of MIT, promising the world if I delivered. But Voss was the architect of it all, the hidden shell companies siphoning profits, the algorithm tweaks to favor his cronies' trades. Derek was just the eager lieutenant, sleeping his way to the top while I slaved in the code mines. The secret? Voss's wife, Elena, Knew everything. She'd confided in me during a drunken girls' night, spilling about the family business that kept their yacht afloat. I dismissed it as paranoia then.
Now.
It was my ace. First move, play dumb. Gather intel. I logged into the shared drive, my fingers flying over keys like muscle memory from hell. There it was. Buried in version control, the early commits on Project Oracle. My baby. Timestamped with Derek's login. He'd been backdating them for weeks already. Son of a bitch. I screenshotted it all, encrypted it to a burner drive in my purse. No rash moves yet. Revenge wasn't a sprint, it was a goddamn marathon with tripwires. Lunch was the real test. Derek texted, "Hey babe, grab falafel at the cart? Miss your face." My stomach twisted, but I typed back a heart emoji, the mask slipping into place. We met under the scaffolding on Broad Street, the November chill biting through my coat. He looked the same, tousle brown hair, that dimpled grin that used to melt me. "Kinsley, you seem
distant.
Everything good at home?" "Home. Our loft. Paid for with my overtime, where he'd propose in 6 months, only to ghost me when the heat turned up." I leaned in, brushing his arm like old times, voice honeyed. "Just stressed about Oracle. Voss is breathing down our necks." His eyes flickered. "Guilt? Or calculation?" "Yeah. Well, we'll crush it. You're the brains. I'm just the charm." "Bullshit." I laughed, light and easy, but inside, I was carving his eulogy. As we ate, I probed gently, heard rumors about the books. "Anything I should know?" Derek shrugged. "Too casual. Corporate noise. Focus on the win."
Babe. Gotcha.
He was already covering tracks. Back at the office, I cornered Elias in the supply closet during his rounds. The old man, pushing 70 with grease-stained overalls and a Yankees cap pulled low, froze when I blocked the door. "Mr. Elias? We need to talk." His roomy eyes narrowed, then widened in recognition that shouldn't have been there. "Miss Harper. You got that look again. Like you been to the wars." Chills.
How?
But I pressed on, whispering about the key, the box, the ledgers. He didn't flinch. "Kept it safe for you. Voss's dirt runs deep, stole from folks like me back in the day. Built this tower on broken backs." He pressed a crumpled note into my palm. "Coordinates for a meet in Queens. Midnight. Come alone. And watch your shadow." That night, I ditched Derek with a fake migraine, Ubering to a derelict warehouse by the East River. The air stank of rust and regret, sodium lights buzzing overhead. Elias waited in the gloom, a duffel at his feet. "This ain't just paper.
Girl.
It's fire." He unzipped it, stacks of files. USBs. Even grainy photos of Voss shaking hands with shady brokers in Macau. The $4.20 mill? Traced to a Cayman account Voss used for bribes. But the twist, Elias wasn't just a janitor. I was his first partner, back when Apex was a garage startup. He framed me for theft in '98, left me rotting. This key? It's to the vault where he hid the proof of my innocence. My mind reeled. Elias, bitter, broke, mopping floors for the man who'd ruined him. And me, just the latest pawn. We plotted in whispers, leak the docs anonymously,
Tank the stock.
drag Voss through SEC hell. But I pushed for more. Derek's in it too. I want him broken. Elias shook his head. Revenge eats the soul.
Kinsley.
Pick your poison wise.
Wise.
I died for their sins. As I slipped the duffel into my trunk, the first snow flurried down, blanketing the city in false purity. This was war. The next week blurred into a high-wire act, every smile a lie, every keystroke a step toward the ledge. At Apex, I amped up the Oracle demos, dazzling Voss in stand-ups with projections that had the board creaming their khakis. Kinsley, you're a goddamn wizard, he'd boom, clapping my shoulder too hard, his cologne like cheap ambition. Derek basked in the glow, arm around me in the break room, whispering sweet nothings about our future. Our future. The one where he sold me out for a corner office. Sarah noticed the shift first. You're on fire lately?
Kins.
What's the secret? I met her gaze over my monitor, seeing the calculation behind her concern. She'd been Derek's mole since intern days, feeding him dirt on anyone who threatened his climb. In my first life, she'd testified against me at the trial, perjuring herself with tears about how I'd confided in her about fudging numbers.
Lies.
All of it.
Now.
I fed her crumbs, vague worries about deadlines, to keep her hooked. Just grinding.
SAR.
You know how it is. She nodded, but her eyes darted to Derek's office.
Good.
Let her report back. Let him sweat. Nights were mine. In the loft, I'd wait till Derek snored, then pore over Elias's files by laptop glow. The ledgers were a cesspool, Voss routing millions through fake vendors, Derek signing off on wire transfers disguised as R&D bonuses. One entry gutted me, a $500,000 payout to Sarah's consulting firm, her side hustle bankrolled by Apex kickbacks. The betrayal layered like onions, each peel stinging deeper. But the real bomb? Voss's emails to a fixer named Marco Reyes, arranging accidents for whistleblowers. One name jumped, Tommy Ruiz, a mid-level accountant who'd vanished in 2021. Handle it quiet, Voss wrote. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just greed, it was murder. I met Elias again in a diner off the Van Wyck, the kind with Formica counters and coffee that tasted like regret. He slid into the booth, smelling of bleach and old grudges. You diggin' deep, girl? I showed him the Reyes thread. His face hardened. That's the devil's work. Tommy was my nephew, pushed off a bridge in Jersey, ruled a suicide. Voss cleaned it up. The weight hit like a freight train. Elias's eyes, usually weary, burn now. We end this, or it ends us. I nodded, the decision crystallizing, no half measures. I'd expose it all, but on my terms. Controversial? Hell yes. Leaking to the press meant collateral, innocent coders jobless. My own neck on the line. But fuck ethics. They taught me survival was gray. The plan took shape, plant the seeds. I started with anonymous posts on Glassdoor, vague rants about toxic execs hiding skeletons. Then, a burner Reddit account in our /Wall Street Bets, dropping hints about Apex's phantom trades. The stock twitched, down 2% overnight. Derek noticed at breakfast, scrolling CNBC on his phone. Weird dip. Think it's Oracle jitters? I sipped my oat milk latte, feigning concern. Or maybe someone's talking. His jaw tightened. Bingo. Voss called a war room that afternoon, the C-suite crammed into glass walls overlooking the Hudson. Tension crackled like static. Leak or hack? Who's got intel? Eyes flicked to me. The tech whisper. I shrugged. All innocents. Could be competitors. Or internals. Boss's gaze lingered. Suspicious. Kinsley, you're close to the code. Any red flags? I met it head on. Voice steady. Nothing I can't fix.
Sir.
But transparency might help. He chuckled.
Dark.
Transparency's for suckers. We own the narrative. As the meeting broke, Derek pulled me aside in the hall. Voice low. You holding up? This shit's stressing you. His hand on my waist felt like chains. I'm fine, I murmured, planting a kiss that tasted like ash. Just want us to win. That night, the first crack showed. Sarah cornered me in the ladies' room, mascara running from a bad allergy. Kins, Derek's freaking thinks you're. I don't know. Distant. I wash my hands slow, watching her in the mirror. Distant? After he bailed on our pitch last week. It was a lie, but she bit. He didn't bail, it was Voss. Classic deflection. I turned, drying my hands. Sarah, level with me. You know something about the books, don't you? Her flush was priceless.
What? No.
That's crazy. But she bolted, texting furiously. By morning, Derek was icing me out, texts unread, lunches skipped.
Good.
Let the paranoia fester. Elias warned me over burner phone. They're circling. Boss hired Pink's private eyes. Change your route. I did. Zigzagging subways to a new drop spot in Harlem, where he handed me a thumb drive of audio, Boss on tape, barking at Reyes about tying off loose ends. Tommy's name.
Clear as day.
Listening. Bile rose. This was the leverage, the smoking gun. But using it meant crossing lines. Do I go public, torching Apex and half of Wall Street's old boys club? Or play puppet master? Extort Voss quietly? The controversial choice nod. Extortion felt dirty, but it let me control the burn. No innocent scorched.
Yet.
Friday hit like a storm. The boardroom ambush came early, Voss summoning me for a performance review. The execs filed in. Faces stone. Derek avoided my eyes, fiddling with his pen. Kinsley, Voss started, voice oily. Your work on Oracle's been erratic. Reports of unauthorized access. My pulse thundered. But I was ready. Erratic? That's rich. Coming from the guy cooking Q3S. Gasps rippled. Voss's smile died. Excuse me? I leaned forward. Voice ice. I know about the shells. Harlan. Cayman wires. Reyes's services. Tommy Ruiz sends his regards. The room froze. Derek blanched white. Kinsley? What the fuck? It was the spark. Voss lunged for the intercom, security, but I was faster, slamming the burner drive into the conference AV. Audio blared, his voice.
Damning.
Chaos erupted, suits scrambling. Phones buzzing 911. I bolted for the elevators. Heart slamming. Derek's shouts echoing. You bitch. You'll rot for this.
Rot? I'd already done that.
In the lobby, snow swirled outside. The city a blur. Elias waited by the service exit, engine running in a beat-up Chevy. Get in,
Girl.
It's just starting. We peeled out into the night, sirens wailing distant. My hands shook, but not from fear, from fire. The leak was live. I'd scheduled it to hit ProPublica at midnight. Apex stock would crater by dawn. But as Queen's lights streaked by, doubt crept. Was this justice? Or just my poison mirrored? Elias glanced over. Second thoughts. I stared at the key in my palm. Brass warm.
No.
But the cost. Dawn broke bloody over the skyline. CNBC looping the bombshell. Apex Innovations implodes. CEO audio leak exposes decade of fraud. The ticker plunged 47%. Retail investors howling on Twitter about wiped 401ks. I watched from a Fleabag motel in Jersey. Elias snoring on the pullout. My burner buzzing with hits. ProPublica credited Deep Throat 42, my alias. Messages flooded. Tips from insiders. Death threats from Voss's camp. One stood out. Sarah, you destroyed us. Derek's done. Hope it was worth it. Traitor. Traitor. The word echoed my trial echoes. Worth it? The $4.20 mill vault waited. But money was the least of it now. Cops swarmed Apex Tower by noon. SEC seals on doors. Voss went dark. His Tribeca pad a ghost town for the Post. Derek? Holed up in his folks' Hamptons place. Lawyered up. But leaks said he was cracking. Paparazzi shots of him chain-smoking on the deck. Eyes hollow. Good. Let him taste the void. Elias and I holed up. Plotting phase 2, the personal gut punch. Voss first. He growled over diner eggs. Then the snake. I nodded. But the controversial edge sharpened. Extortion? No. Full exposure. I dox Reyes. Tie him to Tommy's murder. Watch the dominoes fall. But it meant surfacing. Risking capture. What if they pin it on you? Elias asked. The leak's too clean. Clean? My prints were nowhere. But my soul?
Smeared.
We hit the vault that afternoon. The key turning smooth in a nondescript bank in Newark. The box yawned open. Cash bundles yellowed with age. Ledgers crisp as accusations. $4.2 million. Voss's dirty lifeline. Elias pocketed a stack for Tommy's girl, and we torched the rest in a Wendy's lot. Flames licking like vindication. Symbolic, he said. Symbolic my ass, it was catharsis. Back at the motel, I drafted the manifesto, an open letter to the Times, detailing Derek's betrayal, Sarah's complicity, Voss's empire of bones. Controversial as hell, naming names, alleging hits without hard proof on Reyes. Libel suits would rain, but truth was my shield. Or so I prayed. Derek reached out that night. Voice slurred on voicemail. Kinsley.
Please. Meet me.
I can explain. Explain? The knife in my gut all over again. I agreed. Picking neutral ground. A bench in Battery Park. Tourists oblivious to the storm. He arrived disheveled. No dimples now. Just stubble and desperation. Babe, Kins, I didn't want this. Voss forced my hand. The backdates? His idea. Lies. But I let him spin. The Hudson wind whipping his words. You leaked it. Didn't you? Why? I stood. Key dangling from my chain like a noose. Because you killed me.
Derek.
Slow. With smiles and setups. His eyes widened. Recognition? Or fear? Killed? What the fuck are you on about? The truth clawed out. My death. The prison shank. The frame. He laughed. Brittle. You're crazy. Therapy.
Kins. This isn't you.
Not me. This was forged in their fire. I dropped the bomb. Audio of him signing Reyes's check. Timestamped pre-Tommy. Your hands aren't clean. He lunged, grabbing my wrist. You think you can bury me? I'll take you down too. Struggle blurred, his nails raking. My knee to his gut. A jogger yelled, pulling him off. Cops' sirens wailed. He bolted into the dusk. I walked away, bruised but unbroken. Elias picking me up blocks away. Sloppy, he chided. But necessary. Necessary. The word justified the gray. The letter dropped Sunday. Front page fire. Wall Street Journal called it Apex Apocalypse, pundits debating if I was hero or hacktivist. Voss surfaced an oppressor, denying all, but his eyes, haunted. Reyes? Vanished. But Interpol chatter per dark web whispers. Sarah cracked first, spilling to 60 minutes in a tearful mea culpa. I was scared. Derek promised marriage. Marriage. The twist gutted deeper. She'd been jealous. Sabotaging me, from the start. Derek's whispers turning her into his tool. Public devoured it. Kinsley Key trending. Memes of me as corporate avenger. But backlash hit hard. Doxers flooded my old socials. Death threats pinging burners. Elias got jumped outside the motel, goons in balaclavas. Voss's message. He limped back, ribs cracked, but grinning through blood. Old man's tougher than he looks. Rage boiled. Controversial decision. Go nuclear. I fed the Tommy files to a podcaster. True crime darling with 5 mil subs. Episode dropped midweek. The Apex hit list. Listeners rioted. Protests at the tower. Shareholders suing en masse. Voss's wife, Elena, called anonymously. Kinsley? It's time. Meet me. The penthouse. Under cover of a gala. She waited in silk, martini trembling. He beat me when the ledgers came out. Blames you. Elena, complicit once. Broken now. She handed a flash drive, Voss's confession vid. Drunk rambling about Tommy, Reyes, even Elias's frame-up. End it. I did. Uploading from her Wi-Fi as champagne popped downstairs. By morning, Voss was arrested at Teterboro. Private jet grounded. Derek turned state's evidence, flipping on everyone for plea. Sarah? Rehab and regret. Her firm shuddered. Elias and I watched from a rooftop in Brooklyn. City lights winking like conspirators. It's over, he asked.
No.
The cost, my old life ash. Trust vapor. But the key? It unlocked more. Elias's DNA test. Slipped in the files. Proving he was my father. Voss's setup in '98? He'd targeted Elias's alleged kid too. Bearing my birth cert. The twist. I wasn't just avenging. I was reclaiming blood. Not over, I said, hugging him fierce. Just beginning. The trials dragged into spring. A circus of suits and subpoenas under the federal courthouse's shadow. Voss's arraignment was spectacle, handcuffs glinting for the cameras. His comb-over askew as he snarled perjury at the bench. I testified from the shadows. Deep Throat 42's mask holding. Voice modulated over video link. He built an empire on lies. Your Honor. Tommy Ruiz paid with his life. The judge, a no-nonsense Bronx native, nodded grim. Derek's plea hearing was quieter, his eyes pleading across the feed when they panned to me.
10 years.
Reduced to 5 with good behavior. Sarah got probation. Community service mopping, poetic. Elias chuckled. But victory tasted bittersweet, like victory bourbon cut with regret. Protests turned ugly. Apex alums picketed my leak site, signs screaming job killer. Pundits on Fox called me a rogue feminist wrecking capitalism, while CNN hailed the whistleblower wave. Controversial? Understatement. I'd sparked debates on boardroom equity, but also fueled antitrust paranoia, CEOs bunkering, startups folding under scrutiny. My face stayed hidden, but the key became legend, auctioned in rumors for millions. Elias and I split the remnants, funding a scholarship for coders like Tommy Ruiz grants. Anonymous. Elena reached out post-sentencing. Voss rotting in MCC, awaiting trial. Come see the yacht, she texted. We met off Long Island Sound. Her in whites, me in jeans. Elias nursing a beer on deck. Sold it to pay lawyers, she said, voice hollow. He confessed everything to me after the tape. The beatings. They started with Elias. You know. Back in '98. The pieces clicked. Voss's paranoia. Targeting threats. Me, collateral. My algorithm a threat to his scams. Elena poured wine. Eyes wet. I knew and stayed. For the life. Complicit. But her hand on mine was apology. You're free now. Free? The word hung. Derek's letter arrived weeks later. Contraband via a guard pal of Elias's. Kinsley, I get it now. The backdates. The frame. I was weak. Chasing shadows. If there's a you left for me.
Wait. Wait.
For the man who'd gutted me twice? I burned it in the loft sink. Flames dancing like my first death. But sleep evaded. Nightmares blending boardrooms and bars. The twist lingered. Elias, Dad, confessing over ribs at juniors. Your mom? She worked the switchboard at Apex. Back when it was nothing. Voss fired her pregnant. Called it distraction. I fought. Lost everything. Blood tied us. But so did vengeance. Proud of you.
Kid, he said. Kid.
At 28,
It cracked something.
summer heat baked the city. Apex's carcass carved up, assets sold to Google knockoffs. My Oracle forked open source, crediting KH anonymously. I started fresh, a consultancy in Williamsburg, mentoring hackers with ethics clauses. Clients whispered about the key woman, but I played coy. Elias joined as ops, his mop traded for laptops. We built slow. No empires, just enough to breathe. The final confrontation came unbidden, Voss's appeal hearing. Leaked date. I slipped in back row. Incognito in shades and hoodie. He spotted me mid-rant. That bitch Harper. Guards hauling him as the gallery murmured. His eyes locked mine. Pure hate. You'll pay. But he was the ghost now. Appeals denied. Life plus 20 staring down. As cuffs clicked, Elena testified against him. Her voice steel. He destroyed us all. Verdict. Guilty on all, fraud. Conspiracy. Manslaughter via Reyes.
Outside.
Rain slicked the steps. Paparazzi flashing. I ducked into a cab. Elias waiting. End of the road, he asked. I fingered the key. Now a necklace talisman.
Yeah. But the drive.
The controversial heart. Had I become them? Leaks that cost jobs. Exposures that scarred innocence. Yet Tommy's mom called. Voice breaking. You gave him justice. Worth it. Derek paroled early. 2027. A shell in sweat spotted at AA meetings. He wrote once more, no please. Just sorry. I didn't reply. Sarah? Reinvented as a podcaster. Betrayal files. Interviewing V victims. We crossed paths at a conference. Awkward nod. No words. Healings jagged. By fall. Elias and I stood on that Brooklyn roof again. Leaves swirling like confetti. The city hummed below. Scars and all. What now?
Dad.
He grinned. Yankees cap askew. Live. Kinsley. Disrupt the right way. I laughed. Real this time. The key? Donated to a museum. Artifact of reckoning. My story? Ink for a memoir. Ghosted under pseudonym. But in quiet. I knew. Rebirth wasn't clean. It was forged in fire. Tempered by choice. And mine?
To build.
Not burn. Though the flames. They'd always flicker. Epilogue whispers. Voss died in Gen Pop. Suicide. Reyes? Washed up in Belize. Extradited. Apex? A cautionary plaque on the tower.
Me?
Kinsley Harper. 30 now. Coding sunrises over code that saves. Not steals. Betrayal's echo fades. But the key's lesson endures. Unlock your chains. Or they lock you forever.